Got it.
Oh, there it is. Shit.
See? See?
My bad, homie.
Do they have to log into anything special on YouTube or just look up Gym Crashers?
Yeah, it's just free admission media.
Okay.
It'll pop up on Free Admission Media. Who dat?
Lito?
Oh, tell him to come in.
Miguel.
Why's he gotta be a stranger? You know, every time I put out an interview with Jacob the Bull, he steals the interview and he gets all the views. He reposts it. He gets 180 views, I get one. It'll pop up on Free Admission Media.
Wait, is there a mic?
Oh, wow.
Oh, tell him to come in.
We are live.
Oh, fuck.
Hi.
What? The microphone's live?
Yeah.
Do you like Primus?
Yeah, that's right, folks. Welcome to Gym Crashers. I am Joey the Bull Santana with Adam Woods, our special guest, Michael Villareal, and Dondo.
It's Michael Villareal.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
I didn't hear like a Spanish type.
Yeah, let's
Throw
do
it
a
in,
Spanish
Joe.
accent,
I
Joe.
like a white boy, Villareal.
Get it real.
Michael Villareal.
There you
you
go.
go.
With the
There we go.
He's been practicing that all weekend.
Gurgling, he practices that often.
What's good, party people? This is Gym Crashers for another fantastic Tuesday night, and we are honored to have the owner and proprietor of Core Evolution Fitness, Mike Villareal. He is the guru behind Jacob Rosales.
Bringing it back to Missouri.
What?
Last name,
I shout on Joey for it. Might as well. Oh my gosh. But he is the brainchild of all of the badasses from CSW. We're talking Jacob Rosales, going back to the Badger Ben Jones. Landria Brown, who looks like she's going to tear
she's gonna-
all types
she's
of
gonna
shit at
kill her.
Sparstar.
Coming up, dude.
Excited for that one.
Tough
Yeah.
opponent, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But Mike, thank you.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
man.
It is an esteemed honor, my man. So, first off, how did you get into like the crazy world of combat sports? Obviously, you're a physically astute gentleman. Let's talk
Nice
about
way to
your-
put it.
Yeah.
We're all physically challenged in here except for
Yes,
Mike.
we are. Oh, yeah, we are.
I hope it's on. He's talking.
Is it on?
No, I heard
Testing,
him on the
testing.
feed.
Talk a little louder.
Okay. Hi.
No, not that loud.
Oh, man. We just lost 15 viewers. I apologize.
Sorry, guys.
They just crashed their cars if they're listening.
Yeah,
on the road.
pretty much. And I look really dark. I just realized that.
Well, you
That's
know.
natural. What are you talking about? Just smile. They can see you.
There you go. I saw me. But Mike, talk to us about your beginnings in all things physical fitness.
Yeah, well, I've been a personal trainer for about 18 years. Just started working out 'cause I was a skinny kid. I mean, I don't have that story where I was overweight, had to lose weight. I was always a skinny kid growing up. So started working out with my girlfriend at the time, my wife. And she got me into working out, started working out, and then she was a trainer. She was doing kickboxing. She was doing full contact kickboxing, smokers
Wow.
and stuff. And she got me into
Smokers.
kickboxing. Yeah, she got me into kickboxing. So I've been doing kickboxing off and on for at least, 17, 16 years and stuff. You know,
Wow.
nothing crazy, but just staying into it. And that's what got me into, that what eventually led me into, mixed martial arts and stuff. So
Very cool.
all about the kickboxing back in the day. So it was fun.
Now it's funny because usually most guys would be like, to impress their gals, I'm going to start pumping iron. I'm going to start kicking shit, whatever. But she's the one who kind of brought you
She's
in.
the one that got me into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No, she was tough. I remember, I got to see one of her fights, and she was tough. She was good. She's a lefty. They trained her to fight right-handed, so her strong side was her left side, and she could, you know, she could handle herself, so she was really good. So she got into it, and then I was like, well, if she's going to be into it, I might as well be into it because I don't want to look like the weak one. So so I got into it, and you know, and like I said, it was just something I enjoyed doing. Good way to get my frustration out, some aggression out,
Hell
and stuff,
yeah.
and you know, and I enjoyed it. But, like I said, and I still do it to this day. So it's awesome.
Yeah, they say if you find what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to be successful. And clearly, you are in the arena of which you should be pushing. I mean, this is what you do. You're physically ready for it and bringing people to be their best for fights, which is amazing, you know?
Well, you know, it gives me that experience. I at least I know, you know, I've been in the fight game for a long time, you know, I did fight amateur. I had some amateur fights, MMA fights.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, you know, where my fighters are going through. I know what they're having to
Sure.
do. I know, you know, when it comes to cutting weight and stuff. And so, you know, and then with Ben being their head coach and stuff over at CSW, Ben Jones, you know, it allows me to concentrate on the strength stuff, get them ready for that. Ben gets them ready for everything else. Then
Yeah.
along also with Dale, Roybal and stuff, helping them with the
Dude,
boxing.
what a team.
It's been fun. It's been a good ride, and I just can't wait to see it. You know, keep getting you know, going up and up and up. So
I love that. Well, especially with the team you guys have right now. I mean, it's just a full stable. A full stable of fighters, men and women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we had, matter of fact, I just came from doing strength and conditioning with them right now.
Mm-hmm.
We had 13 over there, and it was awesome. I mean, it was just, you know, 4 guys are getting ready. They're going to fight next week, or 3 guys and a girl are going to fight next week.
Gotcha.
So they're, you know, they got their last week of strength and conditioning going on, and then we got other guys coming up a few weeks after that in April, and obviously Jacob coming up in South Dakota.
That's a big one.
Middle of April. That's a big one. So,
Elephant
yeah.
title fight.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So it's a big one. So you know, so we got a good crew. Matter of fact, some of the guys are missing. So it's just, it's nice to see that they've entrusted me, you know, to handle the strength and conditioning. Ben doesn't have to worry about it. He takes care of everything else. I take care of that. And like I said, it's a strong ass team, strong team. So I'm just glad to be a part of it. That's all.
No, for sure. And I mean, it's definitely shown through the CSW team because they look like, I mean, most people say like monsters, but these guys are literal monsters. These guys and gals are literal monsters. Like tearing, I mean, just their training session, you know, it's friendly, but like, I've been to CSW. I mean, it is war. I mean, striking, grappling, it is war. They don't give each other any quarter. You know, they are so engrossed in each other's like future and not well-being. I wouldn't say that. No. No, but their growth in the sport, that they were going to give them everything every time they step on the mat. So it's amazing that they've entrusted you with the better part of their wellness, you know?
No, it was an honor. It came up about, I'd say, honestly, close to 4 years now when Ben was looking for somebody to help, you know, Jacob get ready and do some strength with him. And Ben and I we've known each other for about 10 years. And I've known Jacob for a long time, too, because the three of us used to work together over at a gym in Brea called M-Body Fitness. Mm-hmm. And one day, Ben posted something, and I was all like, hey, dude, let me see what I can do. If I can help you out in any way, then let's go for it. So ever since then, it was the three of us, and then he brought some of the other guys coming over, and he's all like, hey, I like what's going on. We saw the difference with Jacob in his first fight. I mean, he looked great. And, and then slowly, Ben's telling the other guys, hey, you've got to get on with this, because we all know that MMA is not a one-dimension sport. There's so many things that we have to work on, and strength and conditioning is, right up there. So Ben was nice enough to start telling the guys, hey, you need to be a part of this. You need to come over. And like I said, today, 13, there's a few that were missing and stuff. And it's just, I'm humbled to be part of the team. I was honored when he first asked me. And, like I said, I'm just whatever I can do, to help the guys, keep getting stronger and stuff. It's a great thing, so.
Where did you develop the knowledge and the curriculum to present to these gentlemen as fighters? Where did you get all that from?
To be honest, just my experience with the trainers that I've worked with before. The big one was, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's been around for a long time. Big Al Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Al is he's a great guy. He's a great, great guy. He, helped mentor me when I first started as a trainer. And then obviously doing the kickboxing. I learned a lot from him. And then other guys that I've worked with, other fighters that I've worked with, Marcus Martinez over at M-Body, doing kettlebells and stuff. So a lot of kettlebell work that Ben and I and Jacob used to do. I was lucky enough to be taken over there and work with them. And I was over there for a few years and stuff. So I learned a lot over there. And then just talking to other trainers. I mean, I feel as a trainer, as a personal trainer, or strength and conditioning coach, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You should never ever stop learning. I mean, if there's something that you can't, there's something you should be able to pick up from anybody, everybody. Whether it's an exercise or whether it's technique or whether it's how it might be used in a fight. There's something you should always be able to take away and learn. So I pick it up from everywhere I go. And then I just try to adapt it into what I'm gonna, how I'm gonna work with the guys for that day or for that week or for that camp, whatever it is. So, just different places. I'll pick it up from wherever I can.
Very cool. Yeah, I think they developed that muscle twitch from working with guys with strength and conditioning to develop what that takes in the ring. You know what I mean? So that fast twitch.
We work everything. I mean, we work explosiveness. We work the fast twitch. We work. My big thing that I like to work, and we're kind of talking about it earlier, is stamina and endurance. Because I feel if you can punch hard, great. If you can knock them out one punch, awesome. Kick them, knock them out, great. But if you can't go deep into a fight, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, whatever it may be, and be as strong at the end of the fight just as you were at the beginning of the fight, it's pointless. So we work a lot of stuff when it comes to like grip strength training, muscle endurance, holding, weights and kettlebells or sandbags, whatever it is, for long periods of time. Make them hold those positions, make them squeeze, get them tighter. Matter of fact, the 4 that are going to fight next week, I have a little drill that we do with them on their last week of camp, and basically it's working like a squat jump, right? But with bands around them to provide that resistance. And we do like a Tabata set, so it's 8 rounds, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and I'll probably put it up on my Instagram a little bit later, but. They just have to go and go, and I want to see them just as strong, jumping just as high and just as fast on the 8th round as as they started in the first round. So it just burns them out. They all enjoy doing it, which is kind of funny. They don't like going through it, but they look forward to doing it because they know this is like a little test for them to see how they do and see how they feel, and it burns the shit out of their legs. Let me tell you. So
results driven.
Yeah, and it's just something that, like I said, it's something that's going to get them ready. I want to see them be just as strong at the end of the fight as they are when they start. So,
now you were talking about it earlier. It was your girlfriend, now your wife, that got you into it, and you said that it was a great way to burn off aggression. So, what type of aggression does a Mike Villareal have? Yeah, absolutely. And, why was?
Hey, the kids are watching. Keep it clean.
Yeah. I was telling you guys earlier, I work a regular job, and I get a lot of stuff built up over there that I cannot take out. So, and back in the day when I was working on my other job before, it's funny, I would come into the gym, and my clients and my people that took my boot camp classes or my cardio kickboxing classes that I would teach, they're like, oh shit, Michael's in a bad mood. He had a bad day at work.
Wow.
They would see it. They'd see, because I'm not one to hide my expression. You know exactly how I feel when you see me. It's like, oh shit, Michael's in a bad mood, or oh, he's actually okay today. So I would get my aggression out with them, and then it's like, all right, my turn to get my stuff out and do my punching, my kicking and stuff, or my grappling, whatever it was. So that's a lot of it had to do with my regular job that I had to work during the day. But
as with all of us, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just how it is. So, but at least now I'm at a better job, so I'm not as frustrated and as pissed off when I get to the gym now. So it's a little bit better for my clients.
That's an upward progression. Absolutely.
Well, you know what? I tell you what. The first week that I started my new job, I've been in this job now for three years, and I remember the first week that I was at my new job, I came into the gym, and one of my long-term clients, named Steve, he goes, you like your new job, huh? And I said, well, yeah, I like good people and stuff, and the hours are good, and they know I own the gym, so they respect it. And I'm like, why do you ask? And he goes, because you're not such an asshole right now. And I go, oh, thanks, Steve, I appreciate that. He goes, well, you seem a lot happier. And I was like, you could have said that the first time, But it's true. I mean, this job is a little bit better, so I'm not as much of a jerk at the gym now. But I have my moments. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
I'm sure everyone will say, hey, Michael still has his moments.
We all do.
I think it goes with the fight game. You got to be able to take it, right?
I think so. You have to. If you want to dish it, you got to be able to take it.
The drill sergeant thing, you break them down to build them back up. So
exactly.
I think that's important.
That's it. Now, I mean, are you a SoCal native or?
I was born in San Antonio, Texas. Moved here when I was a few months old. So I mean, pretty much lived in Los Angeles or San Gabriel, Temple City, Arcadia area.
Yeah.
Now I live in Whittier, La Habra, and but for a few years we were talking about earlier that I didn't move to Missouri. I lived in Missouri for.
How did that happen?
Well, my dad wanted to semi-retire,
Okay.
and he worked for CBS Studios, so he had the ability with his union to take time off during the year. And he wanted to semi-retire, so he's like, I'm going to start looking up north. So we're going up into Oregon and then Washington, and then he's like, well, let's go Arizona and New Mexico, and worked his way east. And he'd heard about a town called Branson, Missouri, and Branson, Missouri is like a little Nashville. So, or back then it was like a little Nashville.
Sure.
And so he's like, let's go check it out. So him and I flew out there in 1985, and flew on a little bitty it was like maybe 6 or 8 person plane, little
Puddle
jumper plane.
Yeah.
And landed and just started driving around in what's called the Ozark Mountains in Missouri. And he found a motel, so he bought a motel out there.
Whoa.
And we moved out there in
I
'86.
dig your old man, dude.
He's
Creative.
It's funny. Everyone thinks that my parents are wanted by the FBI because they've moved from like Texas to California, back to Texas to Redlands to Blythe to Arizona to New Mexico to Texas. They're all over the damn place.
Living
I don't know.
life, man.
I think I know their real names, but I might be wrong. I don't
Not
know.
too sure.
But yeah, so he bought the motel out there and learned how to run a motel. Small town, maybe about 100 people in that town. The town that I went to junior high in, like 200 or 300 people. The town that I went to high school in, like 700 people. No stoplights,
Wow.
no movie theaters, no nothing. There was nothing. There was a J-Mart, like a convenience store, gas station, and a grocery store, and a town square, and that was about it.
What a trip.
And so I lived out there for 6 years.
Wow.
Is it a dry town?
No,
I heard a lot of those little towns are dry.
no, because that was really the only thing that was there was to do out there was
Yeah.
drink and have sex. That's pretty much all there was out there. Even for the
favorite
10, 11,
It
12 year olds.
definitely wasn't dry out there.
No, but I mean, I
don't know, you gotta fight Mike
that and
for it.
basketball and football. Actually, basketball was bigger than football. So basketball and drinking was the big things out there.
it's just kind of funny.
If the toughest bull gets, into their herd, we're in trouble here, man.
Yeah.
The rest of us are going dry.
But you have to be careful because everyone's related to everybody, right? So like they might have a different last name.
They don't mind.
But they're still cousins, right? They're like, oh yeah, that's like my dad's sister's, daughter. And I was like, oh, you don't know who's related to anybody out
Wow.
there, so you got to be careful. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, incest is definitely a thing. I mean, anyway.
Well, not with me. It wasn't. I was
Still the same.
Are you speaking of Fiji or here?
Hey, we call it royal blood in Fiji.
Yeah, they keep the blood royal. I did hear that.
No,
It was experience living out there, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I know about Branson, I mean, it's almost like Vegas
Yeah.
without the debauchery. Like they've got
Vegas light.
They have a lot of like more
Really
religious
like-
type tone. out there.
absolutely like. I mean, I
What's
saw,
the Bible Belt?
I saw a documentary on it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a documentary. It ended up being like probably the scariest horror movie that I've ever seen. As it was just
About
like
Branson?
You Branson,
Really?
Yeah,
It's scary?
You don't want to be caught out in the woods out there. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
Oh, I
no,
see.
there's
We're
some-
coming
There's
from
some
your
crazy
perspective.
Yes.
people out there.
Well,
I'll
my
tell you.
Absolutely.
And
perspective
it was
is not
bad
far
back
from
then.
that. Yeah.
I haven't been out there since I moved back. 'Cause
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't ever. I mean, I don't mind going to visit out there. I wouldn't mind to go out there for for a weekend maybe.
Sure.
Go out there, but that's been a long time ago. I put that shit behind me.
And then with Blythe, I mean, that's the hometown of Evil Knievel.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's right on the Colorado River.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Did he ever jump the river? I wonder if he did. I bet he did.
Yeah.
He'd probably try.
Let's go with that. Yeah, because he's Evil Knievel.
I didn't know he was from Blythe. I didn't know anybody was from Blythe.
No, he's
That was-
there, and
yeah.
that's why he got the hell out of there.
I think that's what my parents did too.
Maybe that's
They were
what
tired of it.
drove him to do the crazy things he did. Because you're cooped up in Blythe.
Yeah,
Back in the
nothing out
day,
Yeah.
there's nothing now. Can you
Yeah.
imagine in 1970 or 60s?
Oh
when
no,
he was
this is
growing
like
up?
1940. No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
even earlier, 50s,
Yeah,
right?
50, 60s.
There's nothing going on.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean,
the 10 was a new highway coming through.
yeah, that was a new highway coming
Yeah,
through.
yeah. It was Route 66 other than that.
I mean, you're motivated to get out of the town so much that you're willing to jump off of a cliff on a motorcycle. That's
Jump from cliff to
Blythe.
cliff.
There you go. You can kind of send your residual checks to us. We're the tourism committee. Yeah, man. Right. So, of all the places that you've been, I mean, was athletics kind of a constant?
I always grew up playing sports. I mean, ever since I was 4 years old, soccer. I mean, basketball, football, baseball, swimming. What else? I mean, everything. Tennis. I did it all.
That's
my
cool.
parents put me into everything. They always believed that keep me busy. Keep me busy. And
I think
obviously
they're
it was-
right.
I did it with school, and I was in Boy Scouts, and I did church stuff.
Yeah.
But sports has always been a big thing. And, my dad was always there, part of it. My mom was always there at the practices or the games. I was very fortunate where if my dad couldn't be there for something, he made sure that my mom could be there. So they were always there watching, picking me up, dropping me off, whatever, and encouraging me. Even if I didn't like it, if I didn't want to do it, they're like, you have to at least finish the season, finish whatever it is. And then
That's
if you don't
right.
like it, then you don't do it again. That's fine. But at least finish it. So, so sports has always been huge. And then when I got to junior high, high school and stuff, and then even a little bit when I played in college and stuff, just kept playing. So sports has always been huge. I've always loved sports. So.
Was that a way? I mean, obviously, I grew up all over the place as well, and like I had, whether it be the wrestling of the '80s into like combat sports, that was something that kept me centered. That I knew, even though as a kid I can't control that, I had to leave family, I had to leave friends and whatever, but I knew I could, go to the video store and I can rent a tape and kind of see the same continuity that I saw in my homestead, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, was that kind of a way for you to just release and have some sort of normalcy with all the changes that were going on?
Yeah, I mean, when we moved to Missouri, I could not be as active in sports outside of school because there wasn't shit around. I mean, it was an hour and a half to go play in the local soccer league. So whatever I did sports-wise was always through school. But I tried to do as much as I could, whether it was cross country or whether it was football, basketball, baseball. I just tried to this what kept me busy, and I enjoyed playing sports and I enjoyed the competitiveness of it, and I just wanted to be a part of it. So it kind of kept me just, like I said, like just sane and whatever. No matter what the changes were going on, I was always playing some sports. So it was good.
When does fitness take place? So we know that sports are a big part, but fitness is a whole other thing. It gets you kind of ready for being a real high-level sports person. So
when I was playing sports, working out and getting ready for, as far as the strength-wise and stuff, and the training, that was pretty much whatever we did, like in PE or whatever it was with like our football coach or whatever. It wasn't nothing like it is today.
And now it's a science,
yeah,
dude.
now it's crazy. And if you don't, you might have your head MMA coach or boxing coach, whatever, but you're gonna have your other coaches that are gonna help take care of everything else. So it's awesome that the avenues that the kids have nowadays. It's just it's great. But back in the day, didn't have that. Didn't have anything. It was work out in the local gym or in your high school gym and learn how to squat wrong and how to do a lot of arms and bicep curls and stuff, so you get big arms and chest and whatever. And that was pretty much it. So, but as I got into when I started going to college, it became a little bit more prevalent, obviously. But then for me, really, it didn't really take a part in my life until maybe like 3 or 4 years after I got out of college. I really didn't do anything. I took a break from playing anything, any sports, and I felt it. I mean, I felt like shit. I felt like shit because I took some time off from playing, and I've been playing sports since I was such a young kid.
Sure.
That when I got to be about 20 years old, 21, I stopped doing anything. And matter of fact, I even started to smoke. I was smoking at the time too. So
Whoa.
yeah, here it was, and I'm all. Yeah, I'm good, like this, and then I started playing basketball again. I got into a rec league, and I'd play my game, and I'd go out to my car, and I'd like, all right, good game, guys, like this. And after a while, I'm all like, what the hell am I doing? I can't breathe, I'm like, like this, and I had to stop. But that's when fitness started getting big, and I was able to join a gym through a friend of mine, and just started getting into the working out stuff and the fitness part, and just that's what led me to where I am today. So, and I did quit smoking like a long time ago.
It's good, bro. That's good.
Yeah, that was a bad part of my life. So
right.
So.
No, I mean, I remember when I was in high school, I had one of my best friends to this day. He was a linebacker for Inglewood High, right? And this was at a time where Burger King was like charging 29 cents for cheeseburgers or whatever.
You remember those, Joe?
Yeah. No? Okay, I guess it's just me. But yeah, that dude would walk into like homeroom like 8 in the morning and whatever with like 20 fresh like.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. He actually lives not too far from here.
Does he still eat Burger
What's he
King?
look like?
Yeah.
Same.
He's a veteran. He's a veteran. So yeah.
Okay.
But
He's holding up though. He can move and everything. He's mobile.
I mean, he moves.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Okay.
moves. I just saw him a couple weeks ago. So
Right on.
yeah, he moves. He definitely moves, for sure. He's mobile. But yeah.
So he's pushing 40s. It's going to get rough after that.
No, he's actually 2 years younger than I.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he's early 30s and what have you.
Life is good.
Yeah.
I miss those days.
Yeah, me too.
But, in terms of, like, not really knowing, like, that was... I mean, even in the early 2000s, they were like, oh, we can do that. We can burn it off and whatever. There wasn't that science like you were talking about, Marco,
Yeah.
like, about, how your body reacts to certain things and, like, the diet fads. I don't think there were too many. I think there was, like, the Atkins diet.
diet.
I think there's always been fads, but is nutrition a big part of what you prescribe to your athletes?
Nutrition's huge. I mean, it's nice being able to, especially with the guys at CSW now. I mean, a lot of them are young, early 20s and stuff. So they could probably eat whatever they wanted to and get away with it. And some, when they're not in camp, they're a little bit more lax with their diet, obviously. But nutrition is humongous. I mean, it's everything. It's going to fuel your workouts. It's going to fuel your recovery. It's going to fuel, your rest days or your active rest days, whatever it might be. But nutrition is huge. And the guys at CSW, they understand how important it is. And so, I know Ben helps them a lot with that. They do have some questions for me, and I'll answer whatever they can, what I can for them. And it makes a difference when you're trying to train for a camp and these guys work out, probably 3 or 4 or 5, 6 hours a day sometimes.
All day, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's their job and that's what they want to do. So they're learning the grind now, coming up through the amateur ranks and stuff. So they know what it's going to be like when they get older. But they know that if they eat like shit, they're going to perform like shit. Right, so they know that they have to watch what they watch their breakfast and their post-workout meals and their pre-workout meals, and I'll talk to them a little bit about what they want to have afterwards, and a lot of them will come in with their protein shakes now after their workout and stuff. So they're down, and after my training workout, they're down in a protein shake. They're drinking all their water and stuff, and so they're very, very good when it comes to that, and that's awesome to see because it's almost you give them a little bit of guidance, answer some questions for them, and then they're on their own. They take care of it themselves. They're responsible enough to take care of themselves, which is great. It's not something that that Ben and I really have to worry about. They take care of it. Sometimes, they fall off the wagon, but I mean, again, they're younger, so they can get away with it. Someone like my age, or Ben's age,
27.
Yeah, I wish. We got to be careful. More careful, and have to work out a little bit harder and stuff. But nutrition is huge. I mean, it's everything. It's and even if you're not a fighter,
sure.
The saying is nutrition is 70% of how you look. So. Any clients that come into my gym, they want to talk about nutrition or they want to talk about working out. It has to center around nutrition. It's like, okay, you're going to come and work out in my class for 2 hours a week. What are you doing the rest of the hours a week? What are you eating? What's your breakfast like? And I'll ask them, say, hey, what did you have today to eat? And they'll start talking about lunch. And I'm all, did you eat breakfast? Oh, yeah. I stopped, at McDonald's and I got sausage McMuffin with egg. And I'm like, all right, so we're going down, downhill from there, But nutrition's everything. If you don't have your nutrition dialed in, whether you're just a regular, Joe Schmo or you're an athlete like these guys are, it's going to affect, the way you live.
Injury prevention, injury recovery. All those things, right?
Yes, sir.
Things that you don't even think about, and you're like, "Oh God, I've been eating like crap." All of a sudden, something fell apart. You can't perform. So
yeah, and it's huge. It's huge, and I know, just from my own personal experience. Like I said, I grew up. I was the skinny kid. I was always a stick. I had no arms, I was just 150 pounds coming out of high school.
Life is rough, huh?
I was very fortunate.
Life is rough.
I can't not use my past experience with clients that come in. Oh, I want to lose weight. I'm like, I don't know what that's like. But I can still help you. I promise. So even now, I've been very blessed where I can get away with some bad food and stuff. My metabolism is still pretty good, even though I'm older. But it's still, I still have to watch it, and I know what I can and what I cannot eat, and I know that if I eat crap, it's going to affect me the next day, or it's going to affect me later on that day, or it's just I still have to watch it no matter what. So
I'm gonna go back and rewatch all this so I can learn from Mike. I'm like, what did he say? What do I got to do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of the training of the athletes and non-athletes that you train at the gym, I mean, are there certain things that do work? I mean, one thing that has kind of come up in recent years, like intermittent fasting and what have you. I mean, do those things work for, in situations where fighters are training, 8+ hours a day?
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Here's what I think about it, and I'm not, just to start off, I'm not a fan of the fad diet. So no offense to keto and
sorry, Jerry.
I heard him say that earlier, so I had to get that in. Atkins, low carb,
carnivore.
yeah, carnivore, paleo, vegan, whatever. You know, I'm not a fan of those diets, and the reason why it all comes down to sustainability.
Right.
If it's something that you can't sustain every day for the rest of your life, and you don't learn how to eat properly, it's going to be very difficult for you to keep the weight off, lose the weight, maintain the weight, whatever you want. Now, personally, I do practice intermittent fasting, and I got onto it though because of recommendations of a doctor. So my goal isn't to try to lose weight, although it has helped me lose a few pounds and kind of tighten up, but it's more for my health reasons. Right. So, and at first I was kind of adverse to it, and I've had other friends that do it, and I would argue with them about it, and you know, I gotta, you know, eat crow or whatever because now I'm doing it. And again, it's not because I want to lose weight or anything like that. It's just I do feel better doing it. I don't do it 7 days a week. I do it probably about 5 days out of the week, but I don't feel full. Sometimes, most of the time, I don't feel bloated. I feel lighter. I feel like my food is able to digest a little bit better. So I do feel the difference. But again, I don't do it 7 days a week. You know, I do it for the most part for about 5. And on the other days, I just try to watch what I eat and try to be careful, you know, with everything that I eat. But when it comes to nutrition and all those diets and stuff, and I'll have people that'll come in and say, oh, you know, I do paleo, or I'm gonna do the carnivore, or I'm doing keto. You know, keto's a big one right now. You know, if it's working for you and you're able to do it, then great. You know, who am I to say that you're wrong? You know, I have my opinions and based on my experience, and that's fine. But if it's working for you and you're able to do it, hey, knock yourself out, go for it. If you need help with it, I can help you out, and I do meal plans for clients, and I've done them for carnivore diets. I've done them for paleo diets, keto-based diets and stuff. So I can adapt the meal plan to them. But again, I ask them, can you do this every day? Oh, well, you know, I'm going to go to a party this weekend and this and that. Or we're going to go out with friends and we're going to...
Super Bowl.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, then what are you going to do? Well, I'm probably going to get off it for that night. It's like, okay, well, then have you just thought about just trying to learn to eat what your body needs? So now one thing that I do practice and that I do try to preach to all my clients is I do, if it fits your macros. So I do more of a macro-based diet. And that's something that regardless of whether I'm doing the intermittent fasting or not, I still try to stick to my macros. So I know how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbohydrates, and how many grams of fats and fibers that my body needs on a daily basis. And it's different for everybody based on your experience and your routines and stuff and what you do. But I know that as long as I eat what I'm supposed to eat, then I'm going to be fine. And the whole macro-based thing is, doesn't matter if it's 8 ounces of turkey or if it's just for example, like a Big Mac, right? As long as at the end of the day, your macronutrients add up to what you're supposed to eat, you're fine. Because people say, well, no, I can't have a donut because that's a bad carb. Well, what's the difference between a carbohydrate in a donut and a carbohydrate in white rice? Oh, well, it's a donut. Well, that's not answering the question.
Yeah.
Carbohydrate's a carbohydrate no matter what it is. And as long as you eat the number that you're supposed to eat for the day, then you're fine. You know,
wow.
That's why for a while I was having, I would have a donut every day, every morning, sometimes 2 donuts when I work out.
He's blessed.
Oh yeah, and Joey's looking at it like, damn, that's what I needed to be a sculpted, chiseled.
We need to look at your macros, Joe. We're gonna work on this together. Not macaroni, macros.
Then I see him, eating that pot pie earlier, and I was all like,
over here.
I could go for a
King
pot
Kamehameha.
Pot pie.
King Kamehameha eats fried everything.
And that's our thing too. When it comes to intermittent fasting, excuse me, and I'm taking about 16 hours off from eating. The hard part is to try to get all of those macros in a smaller window, because then I do have to eat. And the time that I have it is when I'm at the gym training clients and teaching. So it's difficult to try to train my client while I'm sitting there trying to eat food.
What's the window look like for you? Are you 6 hours that you can eat and 18 hours off?
16 and 8. So I fast for about 16 hours, and then I eat for about 8 hours. So it comes out to about, I think on average, I have an app that tracks it. So it comes out to about 15 hours that I'm actually fasting, and about 8 or 9 that I actually eat.
And is some of the hours like sleeping hours, or?
Yeah, some of the hours are sleeping hours. Thank God, because I don't think I'd be able to last. But I mean, I have fasted for as long as I think a couple weeks ago I did like 20 hours.
Wow. And
that's on the weekend though, when I have a little more time and I'm able to stay busy, so I'm not thinking about food.
Is that optimal to go longer?
It's up to you. They recommend the 16 and 8. That's the most popular one. That's the easiest one to do and stuff, because it kind of coincides with our sleep cycle and everything. But I mean, I've heard people do like 36 hours. 40 hours. I've seen it done before. I had a client who was doing something like that. She went for like, I want to say she went like 5 days or 4 days, and she was just drinking water and like something electrolytes to help her. But she did it, and to me, when it gets to be that point, it's more of just mental toughness. And that's fine if you want to, do something like that to prove that you're tough. Hey, go ahead. I don't want to. I want to eat. So
it's human.
But 16 and 8 is about that's the most popular type of intermittent fasting that there is. So.
Well, that's pretty amazing because I remember as a kid, like watching the Houston Rockets and Hakeem Olajuwon. When it came to Ramadan, that dude looked like he was dying. Like it was rough in terms of fasting and whatever. And I just couldn't imagine an athlete, what I knew about an athlete to be able to kind of commit yourself. Obviously, to play any level of sport, you have to have a supreme level of I guess a will, right? A drive that is different than anybody else's. But like when I saw a top level athlete, like 7 foot, from Africa and whatever, and he's like dying, literally. It was just like, and when I hear about like people like you or like Terry Crews do it, I'm like, how does this happen when that guy was just, he looked like he was stricken with Ebola.
But he can eat when the sun goes down, right? Is that what Ramadan?
Yes. Sunrise to sun up.
So it's opposite of, the same as intermittent, but you're doing it during waking hours.
We have one of the fighters at CSW, Jackie Ghosh. He practices Ramadan, and he was not eating during the day, and at sunset he would eat, and it took a toll on him. It was tough. Especially because he's trying to train during the day and he's trying to do the strength and conditioning and stuff a couple times a week with me. It's tough. Hey, hats off to you if you can do that and still perform at the level that those guys can perform at or train at even. Hey, that's awesome. That's tough. That's tough to do. So I don't know if I could do it, but I like to eat. Yeah. That's why I work out so I can eat. To be honest, it's like
I respect that.
I love to eat. I like different foods and I like going different places and I like my sweets. I like my donuts and I like good food. And so I'd rather eat my calories, to be honest, than drink my calories. People say, "Oh, let's go get a beer." Let's go eat first.
Wow,
Let's go eat first. That's
you're gonna fit right in this room.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're a bad influence.
That sounds like a pretty good band name. Hell yeah, Bad Influence.
That's right. That's a fact.
Oh man,
that's my restaurant.
There it is. Now, obviously, you run the gamut in terms of people achieving their physical fitness, whether it be athlete or not. What are the differences in terms of the biomechanics of training a mixed martial arts fighter or any type of fighter versus any other sports that you do? Is the curriculum in terms of workouts a little bit different? Like,
I've trained some golfers before. I've trained baseball players before. Obviously, fighters, regular boxers, and some football players and stuff. So the way I train and my philosophy is a lot of the stuff is going to be kind of, I don't want to say basic, but similar, because we talk a lot about rotational power and rotational strength, core strength, things like that. So there are a lot of exercises that I would do for any of the athletes, no matter what. But when you get into sport specific, when it comes into MMA, grappling, combat sports, obviously there's more things that we want to work on when it comes to, not so much explosive power, but the way they direct their explosiveness, right? Grip strength or things like that where, for a baseball player, it's one thing with the bat. But for an athlete, for a combat athlete, it's something I have to worry about holding on to someone that's the same weight as them, right? Or maybe even a little bit heavier at the time of the fight. So, I try to adjust it for this, the sport that whoever I'm training, whatever sport they're playing, I'll adjust it for them. But in the end, it comes down to just core strength, core evolution, right? Core strength, right? That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And I feel if we can develop that core strength, then everything else as far as around it is going to come together. So that's just how I look at it when it comes to any house. Even with my regular clients, the name of the gym, Core Evolution, like I said, it comes from the core strength, but also comes from, the family being the core, right? So we are a family type gym and stuff. And so I have people that come in that have never worked out before in their life.
Wow.
And they'll see some of the fighters training, and they're like,
fuck
what's
this.
going on? What's going on over
Like
there?
a 24 hour.
Some of the trainers will have their clients, and I know their clients are looking like, holy crap, who are these guys, right? And but again, the way I train and a lot of the way that my trainers train, it's about building up the core strength to get them stronger, just for life, because a lot of these people that come to the gym, they're not athletes, they're not going to perform at a high level. They just want to be able to, carry all their groceries into the house with, one shot, pick up something up off the floor, grab their kid or do whatever. So Again, whether it's an athlete or whether it's a normal, quote unquote, gym goer, it's just about building up that core strength. That's the big thing. So.
It gives you longevity in life. There's a good reason right there,
True.
right?
True. No, very, very true.
Mobility is
Stretching
the
mobility.
true wealth.
Yeah.
Mobility and health is a true wealth, because what good is going the distance if you're not mobile and active and
Absolutely.
It's true.
right?
That's true. No, we preach a lot about that at the gym too. We have one of the trainers. His name is Kenny Galarzo. He's big with the calisthenics movement. He's big time out there when it comes to social media and stuff, and just actually he's gone around the world to help set up gyms and stuff, and he does contests and everything. He's big time, and so very blessed to have him at the gym. He's very good when it comes to mobility, stretching, stuff like that. He also runs our yoga class on Sundays at the gym. He works with kids and stuff, building up their core strength and their calisthenics-based body weight type strength. But he ends all of his classes with foam rolling, stretching, because it's important. I mean, it's just you can be as strong as hell, but if you can't move, it does you no good.
Yeah,
it doesn't do you any good.
Or if you're injured, you're not going to train.
Yeah, exactly. So that helps with the recovery. Yep, for sure.
Now, you've known Ben Jones for over a decade. How does that meeting? Because again, I mean,
Yeah, we
you
know
guys
him now. Imagine him 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
I know.
Full of testosterone.
Oh my god.
I don't think he's ever lost.
Ben
his
on
testosterone.
10.
Yeah,
He's probably gonna start blowing up my phone here. He's probably gonna start saying, "You better not say anything bad about me."
yeah, no. But I mean, even the stories like him and Josh Barnett grappling and whatever, and I'm just like, this is two Brahma Bulls. How cool is Eric Paulson? Because my goodness, I couldn't. How do you even have walls?
It needs to be a concrete building because drywall is not going to be able to handle that.
Not at all. And then to kind of interject you into the mix, like, how does that happen? Or I mean, in my mind's eye, I'm like, these two are sizing each other up, and we're like, let's go. But
I got introduced to Ben when I started going to M-Body Fitness. A buddy of ours, mutual buddy of ours, named Mark Parrish, took me over there. And funny story about Mark is we all used to know a guy named Brian Joplin. And Brian Joplin was a local pro fighter out of United Mixed Martial Arts where I was training at the time. And he passed away. He was in a car accident and passed away about, I want to say, I think it's been 11 years now. And so great guy. He's one of those guys where you might know him for like 30 seconds and you feel like you've known him for forever. He's just one of those guys. And so when he passed away, we had the services and stuff, and then we had the wake at a house. And I met Mark Parrish through there and talked to him a little bit. And then I walked into my work where I was working at the time in Anaheim, and I saw Mark sitting there, and he's wearing a little uniform. And I was like, "Hey, you're Mark, right?" He goes, "Hey, you're Michael." And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm your pest control guy." So he goes around and he was doing all the pest control stuff, right?
Whoa.
And he was also a high-level jiu-jitsu grappler. So we started talking, and it's a small world and everything, and we started talking. He was Brian's roommate at the time.
Whoa.
So we started talking, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, I forgot how it came up, but he's like, "Hey, you want to come and work out at this gym that I'm starting to work out at? It's kettlebells and stuff." And I'm like, "Well, I know nothing about kettlebells, so I can learn." Cool. Took me over there, and that's where I met Ben. I'd kind of seen him before when he was coming to United Mixed Martial Arts with Cisco Rivera.
Oh wow!
He was talking about Cisco. I've known Cisco for probably like 14 years now, and was there for his first amateur fights and stuff. And he was very close with Brian also, and so I've known Cisco for a long time. And so I'd kind of seen Ben, but never really got to know him until started working out together over at M-Body, and it just grew from there. I mean, he's a tough dude. If there was like one person I think that I would want, if I was getting into a fight and there was one person that I would want at my back, it'd be him. Because I agree. Then I could just sit and just watch Ben beat the crap out of him, and I could just sit there and watch. But he's a tough dude, and I mean he's full of energy, and he's got that presence. He walks in a room and he's there, and he's funny as hell. I mean he's a great storyteller. So we would start to work out over there at M-Body, and we'd do our kettlebells and our sleds and farmer walks and shit. And then next thing you know, he's telling stories, and so we start working out, and Cisco and Jacob would come in, and Mark and myself and some other guys, and I mean he's just funny as hell. He's a good guy, and to hear him tell us stories and stuff, and we'd all stop working out, and then we're like, oh, shit, we got to go. Let's hurry up. Wow. Work out so we can go. But he's a good guy. I mean, he's a great guy, and he's someone that I look up to, And so I felt really, humbled and blessed when he asked me to help, with him and Jacob and stuff, and then
Very
obviously
cool.
with the rest of the guys from CSW. So.
Oh, for sure. I mean, every time I see him, I don't let it go by, and we're like, I'm just glad we're friends.
Yeah.
He's just,
and again, I've done my amateur fights. I've had a few amateur fights, and for Camo and the Smokers and stuff. And he helped me get me ready. He helped get me ready for my last fight. So it worked out great. But I'm so damn busy. I don't get a chance to train like I want to. I would love to be able to go to CSW and work out with the guys. I figure I put them through hell. When they come to my gym, let me go over there and let them put me through hell, and it's just gonna get me better. I don't mind it. They're gonna beat the crap out of me. The problem is, I never get to go with the young guys. I got to go with Ben, and I got to go with Jacob, and I got to go with Curtis.
Damn.
And I got to go with the guys that are going to beat the crap. And, they're all going to beat the crap out of me, but it just gets worse when Ben. Yeah. And Ben, there is no light sparring with Ben.
Yeah, he's
or
got one
can
speed.
only
imagine,
or
yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah.
I think out of all of them, Curtis is probably the nicest guy, and even then he's still beating the crap out of me. So, and I've had to spar with him and stuff, and thank God Ben will take it light on me because he knows that I'm going to die after about 30 seconds. But he wants to make me work. He's going to push me. He knows what I can and cannot do, but he's not going to let me quit. It's like, if I got to take a breath, and let's go. Come on,
Sure.
let's go. But I don't think I've ever really fully sparred with him. Like, just we're training and we're because I don't think I'd want to.
you're here with us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
hey, he's like I said, he's a year younger than me. I'm gonna be 45, and he's gonna be 44 this year, and he's still a tough bastard. So he's gonna be part of that school, and taking those guys, whatever. And what I admire is the fact that he pushes them, right, and he makes them work, and yet he's still out there with them doing the same stuff. Right, so he doesn't, just yell at them and take the time off. I get the luxury of being able to tell the guys what to do, write it down or whatever, and I get to walk around, make sure their form is correct and this and that. So I don't really have to get in there and work out with them, right? But he is in there with them, busting their ass and sparring with them and getting the guys ready, and it just makes them tougher.
Wow.
So to be able to work with someone like that, who is not only going to, wants to get you better. He's going to show you what it takes to get better, and he's putting himself through that same stuff. That's huge. That's huge. Having a guy like that as your coach is humongous.
And I mean, that's what you hear about gyms, right? In combat sports, where they go so hard because and they get injured, right? I mean, the big fights that we want to see kind of get nullified or canceled because the fighter's injured because they can't dial it back down from 10 to whatever, right? I haven't heard I've been covering this for a while. I haven't heard of any injuries come from training from CSW.
Because they fight through them. Think about the Contender Series.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is one with Jacob, and that was
go.
That was that was just an unfortunate accident that happened,
Right.
But again, he fought through it.
They're going to fight through it.
We all knew about it at the gym. They come over to strength and conditioning, and Jacob was still there showing up. He's all, just don't videotape, waist down, don't show my leg.
Wow.
And so, so he would still be out there doing what we can. Or he and I would actually meet at 24 Hour Fitness, and we would try to get stuff just to get him conditioned, because he can't spar. So we had to do whatever we could to, get his heart rate up and stuff. And, that takes a lot of balls to just still go out there on such a big stage when there's so much at stake. Right?
Yeah.
After getting the clearance from the doctor and stuff, and going out there and not saying anything to anybody, and not using it as an excuse.
Right, absolutely.
He didn't say, "Well, I lost because." Hey, we all knew that where he was at and stuff, and we knew that he was going to take a chance. But to still get his ass in there, to still do what he did, and to perform the way he did, that's a lot of credit, and it's a credit to his school. You're right. CSW. When I was training over at United Mixed Martial Arts, and we had our fight team and stuff over there. And I wanted to start getting ready for my fights, I would go to CSW. Not that I didn't like training with my guys over at UMA. And there were some good guys there. But I knew, and what I'd heard, some of the guys that were training at CSW at the time, Jay Martinez, and Ben and stuff, and Josh Barnett, those were the guys. That was a school that if you wanted to fight, that's where you wanted to go. At UMA, it was great because there was guys like Cisco and stuff. They could still take it to that next level. But even they would sometimes go over to CSW.
Wow.
But we had a lot of guys that were amateurs that were new to the sport and stuff, so they really weren't too sure. Even though I was still new to like the MMA portion of it, I still knew kickboxing. I could still do some stuff.
Right.
But if you wanted to get ready for a fight, you went to CSW, and they were going to beat the shit out of you. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or
Sure.
buts. But they weren't doing it because they didn't like you or because they wanted to hurt you. They were doing it to show you that, hey, we're going to get you ready because when you step into the ring or the cage, that guy does want to fight. He wants to kill you. He wants to hurt you.
100%.
So if you
I
can't
believe
handle
it.
that, then you have no business getting into the cage or the ring whatsoever. And so, injuries are part of it. We've seen different things like with Jacob and other stuff where, it happens. And I remember the old owner of UMA, he did not like us going over there. And he didn't like me going over there, especially as a trainer, as a personal trainer over there, teaching the classes. And I remember he told me, he's like, I really don't like you going over there. And I'm like, well, I want to do well and I want to win. So
Good
if
for
I
you.
have to go over there, I'm going to go over there. And with Ben helping me and stuff, and with Jay Martinez helping me, they got me ready. They got me ready. Unfortunately, there was some bad blood between some of the guys at CSW and the old owner of UMA. But I didn't care. This is for my benefit. And
Right.
if I want to get ready, Big Al trained me. Big Al Gonzalez, he got me ready as far as kickboxing and stuff. Jay Martinez got me ready with the grappling and the jiu-jitsu, and then conditioning-wise and everything, both of them. And so, and then with Ben on my second fight, just get me ready and stuff. So, there's a saying too where if you go into a fight and you're 100%, you didn't train hard enough, right? You're always gonna have some sort of
Ailment.
Weird thing,
injuries or
yeah.
something going on or something's not right. But you know what? When it's time to get in there, that adrenaline is pumping. You forget all about that stuff. It's just you're ready to go. So those guys at CSW, I know there's a lot of good schools out there. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good schools around here and
Sure.
stuff. But when people ask me, hey, I want to get into MMA and I want to get into kickboxing, or I wanted to get into grappling and jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, do you know any good schools? And they're the ones that I always go to. Eric, Paulson and Tanya Paulson.
Yeah.
They're great people, and then you got Ben and you got some of the coaches over there, and they've brought along like Trent Moe, he's, a fighter, but he's also a coach over there, and Jacob's helping to coach now, and they've got their other coaches and stuff. It's a good school, if you want to fight, you're going to get beat up, but that's where you want to be over there.
Sure.
You got people that are going to protect you and still put you through the ringer, but in the end, you're going to be a better fighter for it, or just a better person as far as grappler, whatever it is, you're going to be better for it. So.
And a rich history there, too, with Eric Paulson's history with catch wrestling, as Adam has told us many times, but his mixed martial arts that he brought forward as well, being a pioneer in the sport. How do you go wrong with deep roots like that, right? I mean, that's where it comes from. They're probably, the development of what we know as mixed martial arts came a lot from what they were doing and bringing forward, because people had to adapt to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think a lot of people in modern MMA history overlook, the sacrifices and the tack for different, evolving different aspects of martial arts and traditional martial arts and combining them. Most people overlook Eric Paulson and what a beast he was when he was fighting. My goodness.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a sensei, who better? That's been, you want to go do Muay Thai? Well, he's in Thailand. You want to go do judo? He goes to Japan. Catch wrestling? He's seen it, done it all and whatever. And that even makes it a little bit more lofty of Ben's position, where he sees Ben and goes,
That's huge.
I'm going to instill
Ben
you
has
as
said
the
that,
head coach, and
absolutely
the
right.
lineage, and look at the products, and then, we've had Ben on multiple times. We've had Coach Dale Roybal on multiple times, and, having you, now we can kind of unfurl, how special CSW is.
The picture's a lot clearer.
A lot
because
clearer.
We can see what people are doing, so amazing.
Really quick, I think my grandson Gavin's watching, so hi Gavin.
Hi, Gavin.
and Kai, I hope you guys are watching.
What's up,
Hi,
Gavin
guys.
and Kai?
Hey, guys.
We love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great school, great people over there, and like I said, I was humbled to be asked to be a part of it, and whatever I can do to get them better, improve them, and get them ready for a fight, and then to see it getting done in the cage when they do pull out a good victory, or they get a knockout, or they you can tell that their opponent can't handle them and they're just manhandling their opponent. It makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I'm doing my part.
Sure.
And then I also know too that Ben appreciates it, and Eric and Tanya, they appreciate it, And then, it attracts the other guys. The other guys see it too, and they're like, I want to be like that in the cage. I want to be like that in the ring. So,
Nick Patea.
it's awesome.
Those guys, right?
You know what? The team is full of beasts. I mean,
They
I'm not
have
gonna
no
lie.
quit. I know.
And one of the guys too, and I'm gonna talk about him really quick. His name is Chris Zurcher. I think he's got a fight coming up. I want to say maybe like next week. Yeah, next week, the 21st. He's fighting on the card over at Sparstar.
Sparstar, yeah.
And I've known him for a long time. Probably, I want to say, 12, 13 years. I've known him when he was like a kid.
I was going to say, yeah, if he's fighting, he's got to be young.
And I
so.
remember, seeing him come up through Taekwondo. And I remember when he started, into kickboxing and stuff. And I remember, his path. And then he started going to All In MMA and stuff over there. And then eventually he just realized, I need to be at CSW. These are the guys that are going to get me ready. Not saying anything bad about All In. But when they had the changes over there and stuff, he just felt like he needed to make a change too.
Right.
And to see his growth over the years from the kid, little skinny kid, to now where he is now. I mean, the sky's the limit. And then when you get the other guys that he gets to work with, Nick, and you got, and Jackie, and you got Joseph, and you got, Joey, and you got
Joey.
Richie
Machete.
Machete and stuff. And it's nice to see because they're all hungry. They all want to eat.
Yeah.
And they know that table is set for all of them to eat.
Yeah, to eat.
And they're all going to be there. And you got Ben running them and stuff and putting them through their paces, and then Dale and myself helping out as much as we can. That school is just it's gonna blow up. I mean, I really see it in a few years where they're gonna have multiple guys, and whether it's Bellator or UFC, they're gonna be there. They have the heart.
Yeah, the future of the sport is in that gym.
Yeah, Melvin Wells is there too. Talking
Melvin,
about
right?
Melvin. I mean, that's a sleeper hit of the summer, man. I mean, he's like either 50 or north of 50, and he's
Alondria for the ladies. Alondria's bringing it.
like everybody. You look down that whole team, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, I'd be scared to stare across the cage from those guys,
Sure. Absolutely.
and gals. But it's
it's awesome. It'd be awesome if they could get some more girls. I think that'd be even better. But speaking of Alandria, that chick's a beast. I obviously we know that her and Jacob were together and stuff.
Yeah.
right, absolutely.
And I'm sure that they're both good for each other. There's
Yes.
no doubt about it. They to be able to do something they love, to be able to do it together. And then, to be honest, to be able to beat up on each other and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that. You know what I mean? I mean,
At such a high level too.
Exactly.
This isn't just training for fun.
And if Landry can handle getting beat up or getting, taking on those guys and giving it to the guys, there no girl is going to be able to,
I
punch
can't
as
even
hard as some
imagine.
of those guys can.
Yeah.
And stuff. And if she can take it and give it back to them.
Yeah.
Who do we have? You just had Joey and
And Joey and was it Nick? I know Nick was on.
yeah, and
Richie?
but they were
Yeah,
Richie, right? And they were like, yeah, we crack her, and she cracks us twice as hard. It's like,
She's
well,
all like, keep going. Is that all you got? Let's go. And she's like that in the gym too when she's lifting weights and stuff. She wants to lift heavier, and I'm all like, let me give you this weight instead. She's all like, no, let me try that one instead. And she can do it. She doesn't. She doesn't have to back down. I don't have to ease up on her.
Right.
Just because she's a girl.
Right.
She wants to get in there
Sure.
and
I mean, it's when you said, it's like a match made in heaven, whatever deity that you follow, because I mean the synergy, and for her to land with CSW, almost, we saw her at MMA Events Inc., and there was a bit of a grudge match against her opponent that night, and I believe it was an eye poke, right? And her eye was literally swelled up,
Yeah.
and she was just like, she was begging the referee
She wanted to
not to
continue.
call it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's like, I'll fight,
And
I
it
don't
was
care.
just like, and that was her just, and I mean, in hindsight, and no disrespect to the gym that she was training at, but she was like, yeah, I kind of hit the bags a couple times, and I was like, hey, I've got to fight, and that was her extent, right? And she showed no quit, and I was just like, man, if she can just get, and I knew, Jacob was with her that night and whatever. Knew kind of their relationship, but I was just like, if she gets, if Ronda Rousey had went to Jackson Wink or a CSW or whatever,
Sure.
what could have happened?
We
right?
all wonder that. That's
we
funny
all
that you
wondered
bring that up. Yeah.
And then now we get to see this with this next generation.
Yeah.
We know that Alondria Brown has no quit in her, right? And for her to get the skills that pay the bills, she just got her first stripe by Eric Paulson on her white belt, and it's just like that just shows you the tact. Some people train for years. I mean, all the time that I've done jiu-jitsu, I never got a stripe,
Yeah.
but she gets it months in, less than a year in, and that just shows you what you're going to see at Sparstar. And she's up against a tough opponent, but my goodness,
Yeah,
it's
she-
just
She puts in the work, just like all the rest of them do. I mean, they put in the work and the hours there. You know, they're there, 10 o'clock Monday through Thursday. And on Fridays at 10 o'clock they have conditioning. And they're there for a couple of hours. And then, a couple of days they come to me. And then they go back at night and they do other stuff, whether it's mitts or they take one of the classes just to get more work in and stuff. And they're doing road work and stuff. And she's in there with them. And it's nice because they're all encouraging each other. Like we had the little the little drill for the guys, Alandria and the other guys that are fighting next week.
Yeah.
The little Tabata set that I put them through as far as the explosive jumps. And, and they're all encouraging each other. They're all, come on, let's go. Finish strong. Don't stop. There's no quit. Just go, go, go. And to see that, and they could have left because we were pretty much done with training. It was like the last little thing that we do. But they stuck around. They wanted to watch and they wanted to, make sure that everyone's there because they're a team.
It's a pride too, right? In
and
that
it's
team.
a pride thing. It is. It is a pride. They come in there and we're 10-0 for the year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And there's pride in that.
Hell
no
yeah.
no one wants to be the first one to get that L. They'll die before they have to get that L because they don't want to let the team down. And so they're gonna go as hard as they can. So next week is gonna be some fireworks. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see what they all do. And for me, being the strength part, if I see them controlling their opponent, if I see them, rip their opponent off the cage and take them down, suplex them, pick them up, that's when I get all excited. Because that's, to me, that's like something, maybe I had something to do with that. If they can grab their opponent and their opponent can't get out, or if they, mount their opponent can't move and they're just punching them in the face and their hips are so tight and they're strong and the opponent can't move, that's when I get all excited. Because to me, that's what I help do.
Hell yeah.
But I'm excited. Next week is going to be great. So.
Well, I mean, if you're looking for, hips being tight and not being able to move, we've got our next segment, Joey the Bull Hinojosa with Joey the Bull. He's going to give you 3 stories.
All
One
right.
of them might be true. The other might be total bull.
All right.
It's for you guys to decide. But up next, we've
Maybe
got...
take the kids off the air because I don't know what Joey's going to talk
I think
about.
they're on. They text me
Okay.
that they're off.
Yeah,
So.
All right.
absolutely. Yeah, bikinis for everyone.
Yo, what up? This is Vanessa Lil Monster Demopoulos, and I want to talk to you guys about how Our Life CBD has changed my life. Between pole dancing and MMA fighting, I started waking up sore just about every single day. I needed something that was going to help me to recover a little bit faster and quit affecting my performance. After I started using Our Life CBD, I noticed a lot less pain. I was able to wake up and actually move around a lot easier. It really helps me to be able to get on the pole and back to the mat a lot faster. So whenever you guys are ready to start unlocking your potential to become completely unlimited, go and use Our Life CBD. From Our Life, it's yours.
Yo, what's up? This is Joey the Bull with Bull or No Bull with Michael Villareal. How you doing, brother?
How you doing, sir?
Man. So, dude, nice meeting you, man. I was getting ready to see, I've been looking at all your pages about your health and all the stuff you do with CrossFit, which, honestly, I wish I could do that stuff myself. Man, I'm a big dude, and doing CrossFit, man, I might die in like 2 minutes. I mean, like I always tell people, believe it or not, I wasn't in shape back in the day. I was training myself. I was at 220, a boxer, training kids and everything else, and now I'm with that hype diet called the keto. I've been out for about a couple of months, and I gained about 30 pounds back, which is kind of crazy. But my wife's like, dude, you got to get back on it again because when you're on keto, you're getting a little tighter and things are a lot better in the bedroom.
There you go. There you go.
You know what I mean? Anyway, so I got 3 stories. One of them is true. So please subscribe to our free admission YouTube, Facebook channels. We announce winners every week about getting free t-shirts and all that stuff, whoever has the right answer out there. But today we're going to tell the story about me and then find out if it's bull or no bull. Now actually this segment's a little different than I usually do every week. These 3 stories are like actually part 1, part 2, part 3. But
Right.
one of them is fake.
All right.
Back in, I would say 90, 98, I was getting ready to go to my first ever spring break in San Felipe, Mexico. And I was trying to get in shape and everything else. And I found this stuff called Asian green tea. thinking maybe I can drink some of that tea so I can lose and shed more pounds because, I was pushing about 220. I want to get down at least 215, just to push all the junk out. Didn't realize that you're only supposed to drink one little tea bag, one shot only. Well, I drank like 3 tea bags that day. And went to the store. Came back, and I was trying to, like, rush to my house. Next thing you know, my stomach starts rumbling. I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? And next thing you know, next thing I feel a little leakage going on. I'm like, holy shit, this is not good. So here I'm actually running with my butt cheeks clenched all the way to my mom's house. I was living with my mom. I really had nowhere to go yet. So I was clenching. Once I tried to open that door and try to, get things open, it just kind of made a mess of myself. So that's what I get for trying to look good for spring break. I basically kind of let stuff go and, drinking that green tea.
Right.
So next story. I finally made it to spring break. They had a sign up for arm wrestling competition. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this. Of course, they had, guys on guys, girls versus girls. They even sometimes do a girl versus a dude. And I actually watched a girl actually beat the dude because she was pretty tough.
Right.
Well, I competed. I went all the way to the semifinals and then, placed myself to where I went for the championship. And, of course, I went up against this guy, big old dude from San Jose State, like a big old football player. And he was all hyped up. So here I'm getting all warmed up. I get my hat, put it on backwards. Got the little weights.
The little Rocky Balboa
getting the weights and getting ready,
over the top.
Getting hyped and over the top. And then what happened was, you're in spring break. So you forget that you're drinking so much that day of alcohol and tequila. So I'm ready to go crazy. We hook up. Boom. I do the over the top kind of like with the little thumb and everything else. And next thing you know, I realize, well, how many shots of tequila did I have in me already? So as he says go, I'm like going, and I'm putting pressure and pressure. Homeboy looks at me, he burps in my face. And here I'm like, oh shit. And I take this smell, this whiff, and next thing you know, I got a little sick myself, but instead of me burping back, I actually launched chunks in his face. Oh. So you can imagine my ass. Here I'm like, yeah, and he's like, burp, and I'm like, bleh. And basically he kind of let loose, and I went, boom. But of course they called the match a disqualification because I threw up. But I still got the guy's arm down, but he was all pissed, wanted to beat me up. He had his whole entire football team, and I'm just by myself with some friends. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get my ass kicked, or I'm just gonna start fighting like crazy. So that's the second story.
So story number 1, first of all, is stuff coming out your ass.
Yeah.
And now story number 2 is coming out your mouth. So I don't even know if I want to know where story number 3 is gonna where that one's gonna go, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go. Let's continue. Let's go.
Okay. My ass, my mouth. Now this is what's coming up next.
Oh no!
I mean, coming out next.
No
fire.
No ass to mouth. That's right. So what ass to mouth? Oh,
It's not an ATM. It's not an ATM.
God, I hope the kids aren't watching.
No BBC either.
Well, kids, I do apologize.
Yeah, if
you
you
know,
are.
I'm pretty sure they see a lot worse stuff on TV.
I'm sure.
I mean,
YouTube,
TikTok videos,
there you
Instagram. Believe me, do it all. Do the whoa. All the kids are doing that crazy dance. Well, third story. We're all leaving. We're all packed up, getting ready to go. And this is the time when I was actually working for a small company. Well, not small. It's actually a big company. It was called Spanky's Adult Emporium, Harbor in Santa Ana. So I was out there with spring break, but actually representing Spanky's. And so what they did, they gave me a big old duffel bag of all these toys, if you know what I mean. Adult toys from double headers.
They weren't beach toys, that's for sure.
No, they were like double headers, pocket rockets, fake vajayjays, dice, all this stuff, And so I'm here. I put everything back in the bus. We're on the way back. And of course, going back, you're dealing with all the Federellis.
Yeah.
We had about 3 buses just full of all, college students, including myself. And next thing you know, we get pulled over. I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? So, they make us get out of the van. They're searching the van. They had their own little dog. Some dude decided to tape up when ecstasy was huge back then.
Yeah.
Decided to tape ecstasy underneath the seat. They pull it out, and they were like, in their best English, who is this? Who is this? And everybody's like, oh, fuck. Nobody, y'all go to jail. Nobody tell me who it is. Nobody wanted to say anything. Everybody was freaking, everybody knew who it was, but the dude didn't want to confess. So I'm thinking, how should I save this day? I go, sir, migo, ven aquí. That's my best
I
Spanish.
was going to say, that's your best Spanish.
My best Spanish. Ven aquí, por favor. No, mira, you like sexo? ¿Qué? I'm like, you like sex stuff. Like, zzz, no entiende. I go, my bag right there. Bring it over here. So 2 of his Villareal buddies got the bag, brought it over, unzipped it. And they're like, ay, mira. I'm like, yeah. I go, you like? Maybe for your esposa, for your girlfriend. And he pulls one of the things out, and it was a double header. You should have heard the crowd laughing. And they were like, what? It's not funny. It's not funny. Mira, you got to go to jail. And so I'm like, sir, look, you can have whatever you want out of this bag if you let us go. They're like, oh, mucho expensive, like very expensive. Well, yeah, it's expensive shit. I had double headers. I had even silent vibrators. I had everything you think of. Pocket pussies, pocket rockets, dices. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
It was because I was sponsoring my company out there when I was working for a place called Spanky's. If you've been, I'm pretty sure you've been to Spanky's.
I owned it.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, I probably recognize you buying that midget porn. And nothing against midget porn, believe me.
Hey.
So
Small person.
small people,
Vertically challenged porn.
So basically, what it is that they took it, they shook my hand. Okay, go ahead, and they took the drugs with them. So basically, I saved the day from these college students going to prison by just giving them a bag full of freaking sex toys. So that's it. My stories are done. Which one do you think is true?
Let's see. So we got the ass story, and we got the mouth story, throwing up story, and the sex toy story. Yeah.
That's like a Disney. That's like a Disney movie, Sex Toy Story.
I'll take a wild guess. I'm gonna say I'll say C is the actual true story. C.
And we'll definitely tell the answer next week. We'd like to give a shout out to our big sponsors, Our Life CBD. If they're in the house, you've seen their video before. Check them out. Now we're gonna play a quick promo for you for our boy Blake Bulletproof Troop. This is Joey the Bull signing out. See you next week.
Bulletproof troop. Look at this thing, Jesus.
Nightmares are made out of the same stuff that I am. I'll slice you in a bloody mess so fast it'll make Freddy Krueger proud. Even if I have to walk through an onslaught of punishment like Michael Myers. Getting locked in the cage with me is like being trapped in a horror movie. And the movie doesn't end until one of us lies lifeless on the floor in a pool of blood. It's Friday the 13th at Lights Out Extreme Fighting 5. And Mike Quintero is about to experience the nightmare that is Bulletproof Troop. Bulletproof Troop sees red. Mike Quintero is gonna see black. Lights out.
A good imagination, Robert. Dude, Robert's production in that video is incredible. Our producer here at Jim Crasher's Free Admission Media, he did that, and I just get blown away by some of the stuff that he's able to do. Even the look of our studio right now, if they knew where we were actually sitting, it looks more like a recycling center in here, you know what I mean?
Now, real quick, Michael, were you texting the family saying they can watch the show again?
No, I texted my mom really quick. Hey, are you watching it? Because they were like, oh well. It's funny. I told my parents about this the other day after you guys made the flyer, and my mom's like, are you gonna get hit? I'm not fighting. It's not about. It's gonna be like a podcast. Oh, okay. What's a podcast?
Ah!
So I'll just text her right now to see if she's able to watch it and stuff. So hopefully they are. I had to watch my mouth too. I had to be careful. Don't worry about the sex toy story. That was you telling that, not me.
Yeah,
There you go. That's all.
Who's that cochino?
Who was that guy?
What's wrong with him? Double header.
The Puerto Rican.
Where does he put that?
The
big
Puerto
old
Rican.
guy?
No, my goodness. So you've
How
gotta
do we follow that?
I don't know.
That segment needs to be the end of the show because you can't come in after Joey the Bull. He's a show stealer.
Because it gets stinkier after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's our very own
Trailing
Krusty
behind.
the Clown.
It's a backwind for sure. So, Mike, in terms of your fighting career, what led you to do that? Obviously, you got a bit of mastery of other sports, but like most football players or basketball players or whatever, they look at their body as a temple, and especially with a, like a physical fitness background. MMA is a very destructive bodily sport, right? So what led you down there? Obviously, you were training in kickboxing, but what made you decide to jump in the cage?
I've been asked that before, and to be honest, I was not a fighter growing up. I never got in any fights growing up. It's just the way it worked out. So my first fight was a smoker in the cage. I never fought, but I was doing the kickboxing, and mainly just to kind of learn and to be, because I was always around it. So I'm going to do it, get some aggression out, have some fun with it, and learn something new. Because I did karate when I was like a kid, but nothing ever really after that. So I started doing the kickboxing, and then I kind of felt that from a trainer standpoint, I put my clients through so much stuff, and I push them, and sometimes I push them to the where they, they'll break down or whatever. Where that's not my intention, but it's just, I want to push them as much as I can. I wanted them to be able to see me push myself as hard as I pushed them, so that they would see that, I'm not just talking the talk. I'm gonna walk the walk.
You're legit.
And even though it was just amateur,
That's legit, dude.
I was still working 8 hours a day. I still had a bunch of clients in the evening. I was still teaching cardio kickboxing boot camp classes, I think 4 times a week, plus a class on Saturday. And then I still had to make time for my training, for my kickboxing class, for my MMA class, or to go to CSW and work over there. Saturdays and Sundays I was working. I'd have to get up early in the morning to do my road work and stuff and run, 3 or 4 times a week. And so I wanted them to see that, especially being older, because I think my first fight was I was 35.
Wow. You're not messing around, dude.
So I was like, if I can do it with all the shit that I have going on in my life, let me show you that I can do it. And if I can do it, then you can do it, And I'm asking for a half hour, an hour of their time to push themselves, and I have to do it, and I'm putting myself through a lot more. I wanted them to see that if I could do it, that they could do it. And I had some really good clients at the time where they allowed me to move stuff around so that I could get my training in. And so I was very fortunate with that. And so that was the main reason. 2, the second reason was, anytime you study for something or you do something for a long time, you want to test yourself. You want to see what you actually know, and you might get, in this case, you might get the crap beat out of you, but you want to see how you do. And so that was the other reason why I wanted to get into it and what made me actually progress into the MMA portion. Because growing up, I didn't wrestle, in high school. I didn't wrestle anything. I didn't do anything like that. Again, I did martial or karate back when I was a kid, and I'm sure if my dad were here, and I know he's watching, he would tell me I didn't like to get hit, and he was the type of dad where very tough, very, great dad, but he was tough and he wanted me to get tough. So I remember him buying, I think Christmas or something one time, boxing gloves, the big set and the little set. So he'd give me the little ones and he had the big ones, and we would go and he's just beating the crap out of me. And, here I am as a kid, and I'm all crying and stuff. And I was a wimp, and he, come on, what are you crying for? Gotta get tough. And, so when I told them that I was going to fight and that I was actually going to fight, they were like, oh, we don't want you to get hurt, and why do you want to do this? And
you gotta protect your money maker.
And so those are the reasons. I wanted to make, I wanted my clients to see what I did.
That's awesome.
To see that I could push myself, and then I wanted to test myself. And I only had a few fights. I didn't have a lot, but to be able to go through it, and then now to use that experience with the people that I train, the guys that I train, and even my non-fighter clients, so they know that, especially being the owner of the gym, I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk. I've been there. I've done a lot of stuff, and so that they know that, I know a lot of gym owners. We know, especially being in the Whittier, La Habra area and stuff. I know a lot of owners of gyms, and to be honest, they're full of shit. A lot of them, in my opinion, they're full of shit. And hey, I'll tell you right now, you're full of shit. I have no problem telling people that. It's how I feel, because I've seen it. I've known them for a long time. I know what they've done. Unfortunately, they get to use social media to be able to bolster what they've done. And yet, and lie to people about it. Kind of make themselves better so they can get money out of their clients and stuff like that. And I think that's wrong. And I think so. I don't ever want to be that type of trainer or that type of owner where people can say, well, I've seen you on social media. You've done this. Oh yeah. I'm awesome. But I want to be able to do it and say that I've done it before. I had the experience, and let me show you what I can do. So that's why I got into it. I wanted my clients to see what I could do, that I could push myself, And then I just wanted to test myself and see what I could get.
Well, even one further, because I mean, a lot of fighters that haven't got those big money contracts or what have you, they're juggling an 8-hour job. They might have a significant other, and then they're still finding ways to train and eat right and whatever. When their budget is kind of almost not there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of
We're in Southern California. Most of them is not there.
it's not there.
It's
I
not
mean, even
there.
for us, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, even more true to your cause and credo that you are almost exactly mimicking their everyday life, right?
Yeah.
And then going in. I mean, how did that feel? Obviously, training fighters and having trained in kickboxing, but I mean, there's nothing that can prepare you when you're kind of standing. Ready to walk out. That's the cage or whatever.
It was. It's something I'll never forget. It was amazing. The first fight was in Arcadia. I can't remember the promotion at the time, but I think I was 35. The kid I fought was I think 26 or something, young kid. And I thought I was ready, and I felt like I was ready. I lost second round, rear naked choke. I lost I shot my wad. I lost my gas, and I felt like I wanted to go to sleep before he even choked me.
Wow.
And it's a weird experience, but I mean, I held my own. I got my
That's
first
hard
cut.
to believe looking at you that you lost your tank because you're.
It's a different
Adrenaline
thing.
dump,
Yeah, I had that
all
adrenaline
that.
dump where
Yeah.
I lasted the first round good, got some kicks. I took a punch, got my first cut. And got in the second round, we were ripping each other around the cage, and we took each other down. My jiu-jitsu was not strong enough, and he was better on the ground, and he was able to take my back. And I remember, to this day, feeling as he took my back and we were sitting down, that I took a deep breath, and then I was like, I'd like to take a nap right now.
Wow.
I felt it just pour out of me,
Drain, yeah.
and I was like, and I couldn't fight it, and he got the win, so he got the choke. So
That's honest.
But then I started getting ready for some other fights. I had some opponents fall out, which is bullshit because you fight, you get ready for like 2 or 3 months, and all of a sudden you show up,
Bummer.
and the guy decides not to show up all of a sudden. And then what made it worse, for one of my fights, I was supposed to fight at the convention center in Ontario.
Oh man.
And had a good camp, felt good, felt ready, showed up for the weigh-ins, and all the other fighters were there. And we were like the third or fourth fight that they were going to call up to weigh in. And they called me up. I get up, and they call my opponent, and doesn't get up. I'm like, oh, shit, where is he? And I had to actually cut a little bit of weight. So I had eaten very, very little that morning. So I was starving. I was already hungry. And they're like, well, he's not here, so let's call him. So they called him. He's like, oh, I'm on the freeway, and I'll be right there. I had a little emergency, but I'll be right there. Okay, cool. We'll call up the rest of the fighters. We'll weigh everybody in. We'll get you guys last. Fine, no problem.
Easy enough.
So go sit down, and we're sitting there waiting, and everyone's done, and now it's, okay, there's only one fighter left in the room, and my opponent's not there, so they call him again. Damn. I'm getting off the freeway. All right, fine. So, I'll be there in like 10 minutes, fine, whatever. So we're waiting, and we're waiting. And they call him again, and no answer. Call him again, goes to voicemail. I call him again. And they're like, you know what, so we're going to weigh you in. We'll make it official, so you weigh in and stuff, and then, sorry, but you're not going to fight. And I was like, well, can you find somebody for me? Because I'm ready to go, and I want to fight. So we'll try to call some other gyms and see if we can get somebody for you. And I was fighting at 205. So I was
big boys.
Yeah. I wasn't going to cut to 185. And I was, when I first started getting into fighting, actually training for my first fight, I was 235.
What?
So I lost like about 30 pounds to get down to 205.
This is the skinny kid that couldn't put on weight.
Yeah, well,
right?
see, then I was eating, and then, I was eating good. So I thought I was eating good. Well, I was eating good, but not eating good.
You were loving life.
Yeah. so I lost all the weight to get to the fight. So then that fight, they said, we'll look for an opponent for you. And I'm like, cool. Went to BJ's, and I'm glad they didn't find me an opponent, because I would have been like, Joey over there start throwing up on my opponent, because I was full. I was like, God, I hope they don't find anybody for me. I'm stuffed right now, And but the promoter was nice. He actually gave me a lot of the money back for tickets for the people that bought tickets.
Wow, that's cool.
Took me up into the cage and explained everything, and
that's cool.
And it was great. It was nice of him to do that. He didn't have to do that, so it was nice. Then I was supposed to fight again a couple months later, and I don't know, if you're going to get ready for a fight and you're supposed to fight, you kind of want to back off on what you're doing. Obviously you're going to back off on your training, but you need to back off on some of the other stuff that you're going to do, because my opponent got hurt the day before training, teaching little kids and trying to show them takedowns, and he hurt his back. He showed up for the weigh-ins, so it was nice of him to show up and explain what happened. Cool. But I'm like, you were supposed to fight. You shouldn't have been doing that. He's like, yeah, I know, and whatever. So And then I got to fight a few months later, and Ben training me and stuff, and Jay and everything, and Al getting me ready for that fight, and that was the good fight. And it's on YouTube. I have it on YouTube for the rest of my life.
How'd you win?
That's it.
8-second knockout.
Wow.
8-second knockout. That's
Holy smokes.
that's one of the.
That's the dream.
I don't have many highlights in my life. That's one of them. So
There you go.
Good for you, man.
and it was a Ben. Me and Ben worked on my left hook and left hook and left hooks and explosive left hooks, jumping left hooks, step back left hooks, everything. And the guy was mean. He was a dick. Sorry, mom and dad. But he was a jerk, and he sold the most tickets out of the whole arena. He sold about a quarter of the tickets out of the arena. So he sold about 100 tickets, 100 plus tickets.
And everybody saw.
They're all behind me in my
Good night.
corner, unfortunately, and they're all sitting back there. And of course, they're all booing me. And when it comes to the adrenaline this time, I felt better, and I was moving around a lot more in the locker room, just trying to calm myself down. So I
learned.
I stopped, and then I was all like, I could feel the anxiety building up. I was like, I got to get. So I just kept moving, like I pretended like I was jumping rope, and I was just moving. Felt good out in the cage, and I know that if it had gone longer, I would have been fine. My friends like to tease me. They're like, you got that lucky punch in. I was like, kiss my ass, lucky punch.
Yeah, exactly.
I dropped his ass.
You earned that punch.
Hey, again, I one of my highlights. They took him out. They took him out on a stretcher. They took him like about 10 minutes to wake him up. And even not wake him up, but to get him out of there. But he was out. He didn't know that he had fought when they were taking him out on the stretcher. I went up to him and said, hey, thanks for the fight. He's like, did we fight? Because he didn't talk to me at the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
He didn't talk to me, and he didn't want to talk to me. He was just looking at me, mad dogging me the whole time. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm going to try to be calm about it. And when he came into the cage, he was just staring me down the whole time. His people behind me were yelling at me and stuff like that. And what I really loved, and a buddy of mine who went to go see the fight, he told me too, and when you look at the video on YouTube, you can tell, when they announced my name at the beginning of the fight, full crowd behind me, right? When they finally got to announce my name as the winner, empty behind me. That's what I like,
Yeah.
And he's walking out with a bunch of them. He's talking a bunch of trash and stuff on the phone to a friend of ours. He dropped them and this, that, blah, blah. And he's all like, then I realized, he goes, all of his fans were like around me. He goes, I didn't care. It was great. So, it was good. But it showed, working as hard as I did and with people that knew what they were doing, like Ben and stuff. It got me ready. So it was. I felt ready for that fight like nothing else, and it was great. So as much as I would love to fight again, one, I think I'm too old for it, but two, I can't do much better than that. So I'm not gonna get much better than an 8 second.
Go out on top, man.
So Go
out on top.
So it's all good. So it was good. It was a good night.
Nothing lucky about a left hook. You practiced that left hook, so if you got him with that,
Ben loves that punch.
That's dirty. I like that.
We worked out a lot. We worked out a
I think that was his profile pic for a while.
We worked that punch. My left arm was tired, but he got me ready for it, man. I'll tell you what, he got me ready for it.
That's almost reminiscent of one of my favorite parables ever. Is like sometimes it takes a lifetime to be an overnight success. So how much time
All the
was
time.
exactly how much time was built into that, all of your experiences from football, then coming into kickboxing, then training with Ben and everything, like that first loss, all of that was a culmination in that left hook, 8 seconds. And
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I said I've watched it many times.
We need to play that video sometime.
Times. If you want to check it out, Momentum Fighting Championship.
Momentum Fighting Championship.
Michael Villareal versus Michael Chang.
Momentum. Check it out. You got it. Yeah, Joe's quick.
And
we want to see it.
It was. I looked a lot younger. That's for damn sure.
We all did, buddy.
Holy smoke.
But
I threw on the lid because
there it is. There it is.
It's almost like towards the after you announce it, that comes towards the I think.
Let's see.
And this took place where?
This was in Santa Ana.
Wow.
So those are all those people behind me. That's me, with no gray hair and with hair on the top of my head, still dark.
I miss those days.
So do I.
The camo rash guards.
And we had to wear the rash guards back then. Yeah, you don't got to wear rash
Chris
guards.
Chris Crail when he was 15.
Yeah.
So there's my opponent. He was also an older guy. I don't know how old he was, but he was a bouncer at a bar in Long Beach, from what I remember.
He's definitely bouncing.
Yeah, big stocky dude. A little bit shorter than me, but a solid guy. So, I think I still
What's looks like a cut rate version of Joey Beltran.
There we go. Yeah, it's pretty quick, guys. So
got Maj Giovanni as a referee.
Thank God.
And boom.
Bang!
Woo! That.
There you go.
That was over the people that bought tickets to see me and stuff. They told me to calm down. I'm like, how do you calm down after something like that?
Yeah, it's like a knockout. My
behind.
goodness.
You went to war and you won in 8 seconds.
It
There's
was
no
nice.
calming down.
It was nice. Longer
There it is.
having to wait to be announced the winner than anything else.
Wow.
So it was nice. You know, like I said.
That's brilliant.
So, but you know, those were the days. I miss doing it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if there was some old guy that wanted to fight me too, it's like, yeah, I'll get ready for a fight. What the hell, you know? Not Ben. I don't want to fight Ben. Anybody else but Ben. That's you know. But it was great, man. It was great, and to be able to work with obviously with Ben, but then with the other people from CSW. And, you know, I was still at United Mixed Martial Arts, too. I think one thing that I've always loved about sports was the camaraderie.
Absolutely.
Sport. You know, you've got people that are a team. And I did some individual sports. You know, I love golf and, you know, tennis. So I did some stuff that was individual. But I liked being a part of that team. And whether it was basketball, baseball, football, whatever, when you're a part of a fight school and you're in there training with them and you're busting each other's ass, to me, nothing that I think draws you closer than anything. I mean, it's like, you know, they talk about, you know, I've never been in the service, but you hear stuff about people that are in the military, and those are their brothers. You know, they go and they die for their brothers and sisters that are in the military with them. You know, obviously we're not that serious with us, but we are going to war against each other. And the respect that we built and that we build from each other, working with each other, learning from each other, teaching each other, is huge. And so, you know, I see it with the guys that I work with over at CSW. You know, those guys, they love talking shit to each other. They love pounding each other, beating each other up. But at the end of the day, they're all one team, and they're going to encourage each other no matter what. So it's great.
That talking shit's a byproduct of.
Oh yeah,
you got to do it.
And I think Ben's the best. You know, Ben's one of the best.
That builds that fortitude, because guess what? It's going to come at you from your opponent.
For sure.
So your best friends better bust your balls, because if they're not busting your balls, you're in the wrong game.
Yeah, and you know they used to tell me too that if they stop busting your balls, if they stop giving you a hard time, then there's something wrong.
That's right.
You know, it's like when they're your good friends, they're going to talk shit about you.
They're not your friends if they're not doing it. You're right.
Exactly.
I agree to that methodology.
So
that means I love you, Joe. I bust your balls all day.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that day. You know, the offer's still there. I did mention shows probably like a couple of shows ago, where I mentioned if I run into Mr. Jones before my interview, I want to do a pre-interview smack in the face, then interview the fighter.
You know
the
what?
Fighters.
That was the best thing. I think Jay Martinez, he slapped me before my fights, and I remember the first fight. And I think I have it on video too, where he slapped me and I got a big smile on my face. I was like, "This is awesome!" Like, I wasn't, you know, you see the guys now, you know, like Nick and you know, Joey and Richie and all them. When they get slapped, they're all and they yell back and everything. I was all like, "Yeah, let's do it again!" You know, I had this big smile on my face. It was great because it felt like all the work that I was doing, you know, it was culminating to this point, getting in the cage, and to know that I had the support of the people that were training me, getting me ready, just it was a great feeling. So it was awesome. Cool. I love that slap. That slap's the best.
Does that help get you going? Because that's that first punch already. You already impact on the body.
You know, well, again, for me, I had this big ass cheesy smile on my face. So I don't know. I mean, I got ready, but I mean, I was happy with it. But you know, I think again, when they're getting ready for the slap, they know it's coming. Obviously, I think they're already obviously they're already ready for the fight, but that's like their little time to flip that switch. It's like, all right, you know, I'm in a bad mood, or I'm ready and I'm mean and I'm hungry and this and that. But when they get that slap, it's like, all right, it's showtime. Let's go. The light's on. Let's go. Yeah. So they love it. They use it, you know, to turn themselves, get ready, and then they go in the cage.
I love that.
So. Can't wait to see, you know, next week. Let's get Alandria's first slap. So let's see that one.
Oh my gosh!
Let's see that one. That's gonna be awesome.
Oh my gosh!
It's gonna be awesome.
Now, one of my favorite Badger slaps, actually a moment of Badger slap, because there's been many over the years, but
and it's a thing now. I mean, you see people when CSW shows up for the fights, whatever, you see people like getting ready to look. They want to see it. You know, they hear it, they want to see it now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and this happened at Sparstar a couple of years ago, and Myron Ayers. Love that guy. One of the best refs and commissioners of Camo and CSAC. But he didn't know it was coming. And you see, I want to say it was Nick Patea. It might have not been, but
If it was
you know who
Sparkstar,
you are.
probably
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah. It's
I bet it was.
Yeah.
Because he's a skinnier guy,
Yeah.
and Ben slapping the shit out of him, right?
I mean, it was like a gorilla slapping. What is that furry thing in Lion King? I don't
Yeah.
know, like a meerkat or something. Right?
meerkat.
Yeah, there we go.
Meerkat, yeah.
Yeah, and you just see Myron just, oh damn, like he was getting slapped, and that's my favorite. That's like, if there's a Hall of Fame of moments in MMA that I just love, and that is like one of the that has to be up at the top. That was it, you know.
When you know, the last few fights, whatever, when we're walking up to the cage with the fighters, and you know, we know the slap's coming, so all of a sudden we all have our phones and stuff. But you'll hear people that aren't ready for it, and you hear them go, "Hey, what are you ready for?" You know, you hear them off to the side, and it's like, obviously, this is your first time either been into fights or seeing these guys fight. But this is what they do. They're like, and you hear them like, "Oh," you know, it's funny to hear, but that's one of the things that they're known for. And you know, I'll tell you what, if anybody that's in the fight game and stuff, especially local around here, you know that they're like, damn, I wish my school did that. Like, I wish we had that kind of thing going, you know, because there's some good schools out you know, around here. Don't get me wrong, but I think when you see the CSW fighters get ready, you know, about to step in the cage, and Ben's gotten them ready, and you know, put all their Vaseline and stuff on them, and before they go in there and he slaps them, it's like, I'm sure other fighters are going, that looks awesome.
Yeah,
it is.
I think you're being kind and saying, I think CSW stands out. Obviously, in all of Southern California, there are a handful, and only a handful. But are there dojos and training centers and academies everywhere? There are. But only a handful will stand out. And those are probably the main competitors of CSW as we go to the fights anyways. So we know who they are. But like you said, for people in La Habra, Whittier, Brea, you know, this area right here, there's no second guessing where you should go.
Yeah, real quick, Rick Hollywood said, Spar Stars 47s, guys. Can't wait.
La Jaula.
See you there, Rick. The La Jaula boys. Shouting out the La Jaula boys.
The Jaula boys.
We will see you.
The Cage Boys.
Yeah, man.
Rick Hollywood.
They're boys to men. I mean, they're men, right? Yeah, so from La Jaula boys to La Jaula men. Maybe that's coming up. There needs to be a sticker somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about boys to men. I'm like, I don't know where you're going with this.
Can I be the one with the cane?
You can, absolutely.
Yeah, damn right.
You'd be all
Sounds
of them.
deeper than the rest.
You like it deep, don't you?
But you're right. You know, you're right. It's CSW stands out, and I don't even want to. I think, you know, even when we say like Whittier, La Habra, Fullerton, Brea, there. I think you say, you know, and I'm prejudiced and I'm biased and stuff.
Oh, I want to hear.
I think around the country, that's one of the schools you should go to because of the lineage with you know, Coach Paulson, and then you have Josh Barnett and some people that they've trained and they've worked with, and obviously their careers and stuff. And then you got Ben, who you know, has been with them now for, I want to say, like close to 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, coming up when he didn't know anything. He was telling a story the other day at the gym where he was having to get he was forced to get Josh Barnett ready for a fight. And I think at the time he was saying that Josh was the UFC heavyweight champion. And he was like, I've been training for like, I don't know, a few months or something. It's like, all right. And Josh goes, I want you're going to spar with me. And he's all like, okay, you know, and he just goes to town, you know, and but to see, you know, the lineage that the young guys now have to follow. Yeah. Obviously big shoes to fill.
Yeah. That's
right.
You know,
100%.
big footsteps and stuff, but they're all up to it. You know, every one of them is up to it. And they would not be there and doing the things that they're doing if they were not up to it. You know, yeah, some of them have part-time jobs, you know, some of them work and stuff, but they make the time to make sure they get their training in. And whether it's with Ben, or whether if they do the extra work with Dale, or they come and do the strength and conditioning with me at my gym, they make the time. You know, some of the guys have been like, hey, you know, Coach Mike, you know, I haven't been able to make strength because, you know, I'm working. He goes, but I'm changing my schedule so that way I can make sure I can come on the days that, you know, you have strength because I need to get ready and I want to get ready. Or, you know, some of the guys that don't have fights coming up at all, they're still in there, you know, busting their asses to get ready because they know that if this is going to be their job, right? And when I go to my job, it's my full-time job. And that's what they want this to be. They want this to be their full-time job. So they know that they have to put in the work. They get to have fun with it, you know, they get to enjoy it and stuff and train and do things that most normal people don't get to do. But it's to them, it's a job. And they put that work into it to make sure that they get ready for their fights. So, but it's a great school. CSW is, I think, one of the top schools, I want to say, in the country. You know, it's undoubtedly, if you want to come and get ready for a fight, and again, to get fight ready where you know that they're going to bust your ass, and they're going to push you, and they're going to push you and push you, that's the type of school you should be going to. If you want to be a fighter, that's the kind of school you need to be at. And CSW is right up there at the top. So.
Yeah, and I mean, as a fight fan, I mean, there's got to be something in the water in Southern California that, I mean, it lures everybody. The best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu folks, they end up here. The best, Thai, Muay Thai, or even like, the Dutch Muay Thai, they end up here in the instance of Bas Rutten.
Bas is here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing. And we get to see almost the culmination of all of this, like Coach Paulson's travels, Ben's travels, Barnett's travels, like Chad George's travel. Like, we get to see it all, and we get to see it play out almost every weekend with whether it be a local event like Spar Star or Lights Out, or something like Jamal Emmers just fought for the UFC.
Stepping up,
right?
yeah.
Absolutely, and it's just amazing that we get to kind of have a bird's eye view of what's going on, and seeing these. I almost look at this time in combat sports as a renaissance, right? Because whether you compete in jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, whatever aspect of it, we get to see the promoter's vision of what this thing is. If the concept is canvas and putting on fights or whatever, we get to see the promoters, their different ideologies behind it. We get to see the coaches, right? Strength and conditioning, boxing, what have you, jiu-jitsu coaches. Then we get to see the fighters themselves. And it's this kind of culmination and a celebration of this thing called combat sports that we all get to do almost on a weekly basis. Like, I am so honored to be able to, do this and then kind of pick your brain and Ben and everybody.
Mike's very behind the scenes, so it's good to get him on camera and talk about what he does, because people may not realize that it isn't just chucking your fists.
Yeah, it's not.
You got to swing some kettlebells too, and
There's so much more to it. I mean, you touched on nutrition earlier. The strength and conditioning, even like the mental aspect. A former client of mine, he's a mental coach, a sports coach.
Sure.
for as far as mental toughness and stuff. And he's even saying that it's huge. You might feel like I'm going to win the fight and I feel good, but to get that extra coaching, whether it's with strength or whether it's the mental game, whatever, it's humongous. And again, growing up, back in the day, didn't have that. It was you just play your sports and you play in school, or you might have like, outside sports, whatever, and that was it. You didn't have to worry about going to see, this coach for this and this coach for this and this coach for that. It was just one coach. And nowadays, if you're not actively participating and pushing yourself in the different aspects of, for example, for mixed martial arts and combat sports, you're going to get left behind. You're gonna get left behind, and you're gonna wonder, well, how, why aren't I up there with the rest of the guys? Because they were the ones that were doing all the extra stuff and the stuff that, like you say, behind the scenes that people don't normally see. They're the ones that are gonna be at the top. So, it's huge. I love what I do. I love getting my guys ready. I love pushing them. I like that when they say, okay, what's next? And are we done yet? We can't be done. We got more stuff to do. I love it because that's the kind of shit that gets me pumped. It's like, all right. You want some more? I'll give you some more. Let's go. And today we had a great workout with 13 of them. Their warm up, I changed the warm up, and I know they all love the warm up, but they're dying after the warm up, and I feel like I have to push them because that's the level that Ben's already got them to.
Right.
And I remember when I was getting ready for my fights, and I was in shape and I was conditioned, and I could go run sprint, hill sprints and lift weights and stuff like that. I'm nowhere near where these guys are at, and yeah, I was older. And that's not an excuse. I could have pushed myself and done the stuff that these guys do now, but to see the way that these guys push themselves and get themselves ready, and the stuff that's behind the scenes, which it is, it's great. It's great to see because they know that that's the stuff that's going to cause them and get them to where they want to be. So,
is that where you think the sport is now versus when you were fighting, say, 10 years ago? Are you seeing more of a well-rounded athlete as well as a martial artist come to the table?
Oh yeah. I used to tell some of my parents that would want to put their kids into, well, I want them to train with you and this and that. It's like, okay, well, do they play a sport? Oh yeah, they play football, or they do, I've had golfers and stuff, whatever. And I would tell them, look, I train fighters. I've trained fighters before and I've fought before. You don't see fighters going to do, say, baseball type of training, right?
No.
You don't see.
They don't go to the batting cage.
Yeah, they don't go to the batting cage and do stuff like that. Or they don't, do stuff like that. But you see baseball players, football players especially. We've seen some of the football players come in, into the cage.
Villareal.
And you see those athletes that are some are high levels, athletes they train like the way a mixed martial artist will train because they're so well-rounded. They have so many aspects to the mixed martial arts game that is going to help them, in their sport. One of the kids that does my strength and conditioning, Drake Flores, he has a younger brother named Ryan who goes to school and a high school baseball player. And he started training with me early last summer. And basically because Drake was training, he wanted to get some training in too. And, he sent me a video the other day where he crushed a shot, a home run, 2-run home run. And he's like, it's because of you, And I'm like, no, I just told you what to do. You had to do the work. But the training that we worked on when it came to the MMA type training that we would do, it benefited him when it came to playing baseball. And so parents tell me, well, is it good to do that type of training? I go, hell yeah, it's good. Whatever we do in that mixed martial arts type training is going to get them ready for whatever sport they want to do. And that's just the way it is, So yeah, well-rounded athletes, mixed martial artists, they're just at another level, if you ask me.
So guys, we're coming at the time right now. We're about into the next show within the next 10 minutes. So where can they find you guys in your social medias?
I'll go first. Dondo the Gym Crasher on Instagram and John Dondo on Facebook. Check it out.
Okay.
According to Woods on everything, and we've got some cool stuff on the Free Admission Media page, and so subscribe, like us, and subscribe. But to find out more about Mike Villareal and Core Evolution Fitness, where can they find it?
Instagram, Aztec Warrior, AZTK Warrior on Instagram, or Core Evolution is the name of my gym. You can find us on Instagram. Core Evolution on Facebook. We have our own Facebook page and stuff. And, I'd like to say we are having a beach boot camp this Saturday down at Huntington Beach. We're going to pray that it's not going to rain, but this Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, Huntington Beach. If anybody's interested, hit me up. We offer a complimentary free week of classes if you guys want to come down and check us out. We are located in Whittier, on Whittier Boulevard, on the corners of Whittier Boulevard and First Avenue. And, we have a great family-type gym, but, I do train some badass fighters that come in there, too. So
Sure does.
Awesome. You can catch me at Joey the Bull on all the social medias. This is the Gym Crasher Show. We'll see you next week.
Royal Rumble's up next.
That's right. Peace out.
Thank you, buddy.